Hey everybody, this is Tony. Hope you're doing well. Want to do a quick look at Bitcoin here. Going to try and keep this as short and concise as possible. Had some big moves today, so I just want to go over what I kind of went through last week and see where we're at, and then give you some ideas what I'm thinking about right now as far as where we're possibly going to go and what I want to see to kind of clue me into the direction of the markets. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what we got here. So zoomed out on the daily, we can kind of see what we got going on. We got a series of lower highs and lower lows. So that would constitute a downtrend at this degree. So we have to consider that right now the trend is going to stay this way until we see something different, a break of structure, change of character, what have you. We need to flip this trend to look a little bit more bullish. Now, the good thing about having an impulse up here is that that could be a precursor to a change in trend, if you will. So that's why it's kind of gets people excited, gets me excited when I see an impulse up. It gives me a nice clue as to what's going on. Is this the start of something? Is this a motive wave moving in the other direction, pointing up, or is this the C wave of some kind, or like a flat? So an impulse can be a great anchor to kind of go off of, and that's why if it, depending on the degree, depending on the context, it's never a bad idea to set up a plan based on said impulse, either up or down, depending on what you think it's attached to. So on the daily here, I think we have to consider now that the downtrend is going to continue and kind of be in that mindset until we get a change of character again or something along those lines. So the best way to do that here is we got to break some of these highs, give us a little bit of hopium here that, okay, there's a potential that this thing's going to switch up here and start heading in the other direction. Now, of course, it doesn't have to do that. We could just keep going down and follow the trend. But we're going to have to kind of go with the flow there and see what we can find on the lower time frames to maybe start looking at potentially the trend changing from there and working its way up to the higher degree counts or the daily or time frames, whatever you base your analysis off of. So right now for this degree, I think as far as the count goes, again, it could be a lot of things, this and that. I think the worst case scenario is still my double zigzag idea there. This could be a flat here and we're heading down. So we have ABC, A, B as potential running flat, and we'll get into that a little bit when we dig a little deeper into the time frames. And then this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll show you a little bit closer of how I think this is going to potentially play out from here, what I'm seeing. Just as a potential, again, this is just kind of an idea of what I'm looking at right now. So we have an impulse down here. Again, it could be a motive wave, could be a diagonal. I've counted it as a diagonal. I've played the diagonal. But I think right now we have a motive wave pointing down. Is that part of this? Again, more confusion to the count. So when we dig further down, I'm going to be looking for clarity on that end or at that degree. So right now, if we have an impulse down, let's say we just attach that to this move down and we're moving further down. What I'd want to see here, I think we have a 3-wave move up, 3-wave move, and then a potential for a impulse up here. So what does that actually mean? So if we have a corrective wave here and we're actually in a motive wave moving down at this point, I think there's a potential we could break this, come back, and then this is going to be another area of interest to look at. Again, is this the turning point? I'm not sure if we even make it down there. I'm still going to be kind of suspicious and see, what kind of happens here. Are we going to react? Are we going to get an impulse up and then start moving up? Or is this just going to be corrective and then we flop back down for further downside? Again, this is just basic, price action, Elliott Wave kind of stuff. I'm not trying to tell the future or anything here. I'm just saying if we get down here, I'm going to want to see a reaction, and depending on how it reacts is how I'll play it from there. So again, that's kind of one of the worst case scenarios I'm looking at here. I think this level has to hold. I said that last time for this level. And I think it still stays the same here. This count, the count I'm looking at right now, has to hold this for the upside to be a possibility still. So for this, again, if we break down here, I'm going to be looking for these levels to play as resistance as we bounce down to this congestion area here and see if we get a reaction. So that's one count. Obviously, if we stay internal, I want to start out with the bad news and kind of work my way up from there. So good news is we are still holding that level, and we are still kind of in the sweet spot, the algo land here, where someone could show up and save the day. But we have to kind of play. We can hope for that, but we really have to watch the PA here and kind of stay logical and see what is actually given to us. Right now, I connected these two pivots here. We did end up breaking that trend line, and we're kind of retesting it. We retested it here for a little bit of up, and then we're retesting it now again. Breaking back into that's, depending on if you believe in trend lines or not, if we break back in, this could act as resistance again. As you can see, it played as resistance pretty much all the way down. We couldn't close above this in the past. So if this falls back in, could be looking at this again for the play as resistance. So that's one thing I'll be watching there. But we still are in the golden zone or in the algo area here. And I think these are the next levels I'm kind of watching to hold on this time frame. And when we dig further down, I'll kind of show you what I'm talking about. But these are the two levels that have to hold. This pivot has to hold to keep the count as a possible impulse or motive, I should say. And as long as we stay internal, it can do whatever it wants in here. And if it looks nice and corrective, the better. Just as long as this swift move up is reacted to by a corrective move internally, I think we still have a chance to get on out of here. But all hopium aside, we got to kind of look deeper down and see if there's any signs of that actually happening or producing itself. So let's dig further down and go into the 4 hour. All right, here we are on the 4 hour. So I just want to start out by going over the last idea I had from the last video. Last week, I was looking for potential wave 4 here, and I really wanted to look for some clues for the market to kind of show its hand and see where we are in the count. Wanted to look for a correction, a sideways correction to offset these moves down here, which I thought could be wave 2s potentially. Again, there was some confusion down here, still is for me, but I want to see a wave 4 put in, a wave 5, a swift move away from the area of interest, which were these highs here, breaking the wave 4, and then a correction up to look for a wave C or 3 down. So when we look at the actual PA that played out here on the 4 hour, you can see it played out pretty good. We got the wave 4 here, we got some sideways here with a pop up above these levels, and then it reacted like a PTT should, post triangle thrust. It popped up, cleared out everybody up here, then dropped back down quick and reactive, sweeping the potential wave 4 here, came back up to the 5618, got the reaction down, and everything was going great. We got the swift move down, correction up to the 5618, got a nice correction there in the algo zone. Then we moved down a little less steep than the A wave here to put in a good looking C. And then this morning, or 2 days ago, we got a nice reaction out of an area of interest that we're always looking for, right? The algo zone. Got a nice reaction out of there. Took an entry, got long, popped up here, got a little bit of resistance here. So then this happened. And we're going to go a little bit deeper down. I'm going to go to the 1 hour and kind of dig around and show you what some ideas I have. At the end of the day up here, we got the entry, everything worked out, everything was looking beautiful from the time I put out the video till this morning. All right, so even though we got the entry, we got the pop up, sometimes shit happens. We always have to remember that even if everything's going to go perfect, it's always that 1 second when you think you got the market figured out. And you got to remember that there's always somebody on the other side of the trade. So if we look at this from this angle here, yeah, we got the nice bounce out of the algo zone there. But on the other end, there's some other people up there waiting at that support, at this resistance here potentially, and the algo land here. to dump on us. So again, everything can work out perfectly until it doesn't, and that's why we got to plan ahead. Don't go all in, use the same money management we do for every trade, all that kind of good stuff. Because some days you're just going to get shit on. I'm not saying that this was a perfect count. Again, there was some confusion down here. Maybe this is a A, B, C. You don't have a lot of clarity down here. You can put a count on this all you want and justify everything you want. But at the end of the day, we could still sweep this, and we may have to change our tune on this being an impulse, depending. So that's all I wanted to go over on the 4 hour. We had a nice setup here. I took the trade. I got stopped out. I was a little suspicious about the move up here this morning, so I moved my stops up into break even, and it got hit, obviously. So looking for the next trade, that's all we can do, and that's what we're going to do now on the 1 hour. All right, here we are on the 1 hour now. So for the bulls, I think there's still some hope. We're still in the algo land here. As far as the Elliott Wave goes, this could be some kind of double zigzag we're putting in. Again, I don't want to rely too much on this. This could all be hopium. So I'm going to take some measures here to kind of counteract the bullish scenario, just in case we are headed down. Again, it all depends on if this low down here holds. If we can hold this level, I could still say this looks still like an impulse to me. It could be kind of some kind of ABC again. But if it holds this low and we stay corrective within this range, or the range high and low of this impulse, we could still find our way out of this. For now, though, I still want to see what's going to happen in this mix here, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. So if we think this is a possible double zigzag on the Elliott Wave side, and we think it's a possible dump to hell on the bear side, there's one spot that we can all kind of agree on, and that's that this move is going to come up correctively here, and that we're going to dump for at least one more low, or one more move down here to break this low. From there, we kind of disagree. Either it's going to be a C here, C of the Y, and we're going to head up, and everything's going to be safe, and I'm going to be looking for a break of this level here, and a nice internal correction, holding these levels, one of these levels here, before a continuation up. Again, if we think we're bearish, it's going to be the same trade. We're going to be looking for a corrective move up here, or we're going to be hoping that this move down breaks through here forcefully, and then I'll be looking for these levels to play as resistance for further down until the bulls can prove themselves to me, and we move up, break these levels, and start flipping them back on the bullish side and changing the trend, essentially. So that's one option I'm looking at. If we come up correctly, I'm going to be looking for a short, and I'm going to be taking profit at the normal C3 spots. So a break of the initial start of the zigzag up, or the correction up, and then the 1-to-1, and then kind of see what happens there. If it does come in nice and C-like and less steep than this right here, then I'm going to be leaning C, and I might get out of my short and start looking for a long. But it all depends on how the PA prints from there. The other thing I'm going to be looking at for is if this was all just some news and it's going to blow over and we're going to go back to rainbows and unicorns and all that fun stuff. I want to see a nice impulsive up, breaking these levels, and then flipping them back to support in a corrective move for further upside. All right. And that all comes in. This is all fractal. This is all going to start, hopefully, in my opinion. The first step that we have to do here is break this level here, because I think down at the 15-minute, I'm going to go down there to the naughty zones down there. So right now, it kind of looks like we could have a potential impulse correction up at this point. But I'm counting this as a 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe this is the 5. But this looks like a 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're starting another impulse up here with the correction. All right, so if we can turn this around and head back up in an impulsive way and start flipping these levels into support and moving on up, good for the bulls. All right, so out here, to add some confluence, I want to pull this down here, see where the algo land is. And everything that breaks here on the way up is going to be better for the bulls. And if we can't break some of this stuff, it's going to be better for the bears. So I'm going to be neutral here and play whatever prints. And then depending on where we are when we print this, then I'll decide exactly where we're going to go. If we're going down to hell or if we're just going to do a correction before some up. We'll have to determine that when we hit the PA to the right and when it prints. So again, some good confluence here. We got this level that's been proven reactive in the past. We got the algo zone here, and we got this nice swift move down here. So if this turns out to be corrective, we can assume, it's never going to do that, but we can assume that the trend's going to continue. Right now, we want to switch the trend at the lowest degree. So right at the moment, we have a high up here, a low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and then we're coming back in correctively into the premium and the algo zone here. So those are the two things that I'm looking for at this moment. You could take a trade at a smaller degree here, depending on how this prints up. Either way, a 1, 2, or an AB, it's going to have a confluent trade there as well, where you could try and catch this little bit if you're total degen mode. I don't blame you. Any questions, concerns, let me know. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff for me. Keep me rolling. Thanks for watching. Trade safe.